Hey everyone, and welcome to the first video in our three-part series on how to set goals and how to get through the little pitfalls and the psychological problems that you'll come through when setting goals, especially for the new year. So first of all, why are goals and aims important? Well, from a psychological point of view, biologically, we are hunters. We always fixate on targets. Our eyes will always fixate on things that we want, and it's no different with where we're going forward with things. So that's why we seem drawn to making targets and aims, even as something as silly as looking where you want to go when you cross the street rather than winding around aimlessly seems a far better prospect than actually just going across willy-nilly. Second of all, we need to understand why having an aim or a goal is important. Basically, it's because we've perceived that it's going to take us to a better place than we are now. There is no point setting a goal that's going to make you worse off than where you are now. More importantly, if you are happy with where you are, setting a goal becomes very hard because you don't really know where else you need to be, because where you are is actually very good. And for those of you in that boat, that's great. The goals that you need to set will probably be a lot smaller than those of you that are maybe unhappy where you are or have a dream of getting to somewhere else. So here's the first three stages on what I'd like you to do ready for tomorrow's video, where we can set you up in part 2 for the next stage. So first of all, we need to choose an end goal. So we need to understand what it is our end goal actually is. So for me, for instance, we'll take my business goal, which is quite ambitious, which is to run my own facility at some point. Okay, I would like to move away from renting a space and have my own space, which is tailored to what I want to give people, combining mental health, injury rehabilitation, and strength and confidence training. So pretty big deal, right? So once you've set your goal, whichever it may be, which will put you in a more beneficial position than you are now, that is what we need to set. It may seem a bit massive now, or it might seem quite small. That's fine, because we're going to expand on that in a second. So next, we need to define the reason. Why will this be better than where we are now? Okay, so once you've determined what your end goal is, it could be losing a stone. Why is that important? What is the reason for that? So losing a stone would mean you were healthier, would live longer, and have a better quality of life. That is a reason. An aim without reason is very hard to follow because we're unsure of why it's going to be beneficial to us. For myself, my goal of having my own facility that runs in a certain way is beneficial to me. The reason behind that would be is that it's something that's missing in the industry that I feel I can bring, that's going to help people with mental health, help people with injury recovery, and put people in a more community-based aspect to help them with their recovery. Right? So the last thing is we need to set a time frame. Now, a goal like mine is quite ambitious, and I set myself the goal of 5 years. I'm 1 year into that goal, and because, as we will explain in stage 2, we're going to break that down into little bits and pieces of how we can keep ourselves on track. So, homework for today is choose an end goal, define the reason of why that's important and why that's going to be beneficial to us when we get there. We must. This is actually probably the most important part, really, is defining the reason behind the goal. Because if just saying, I want to lose a stone, why? Because I think it's a good idea, isn't investing in the goal. There is no definitive reason of why that's going to take you to a better place, where it's going to make you better than where you are now. And without that, you're going to really struggle to adhere to that goal. And finally, set a time frame. Set one that is reasonable. If losing a stone is your goal, you could say 6 months' time. You could say a year. You might turn around and say 3 months' time. Whatever goal you set will determine the amount of work and focus you need to put into it. So depending on the size of the task, depends on the goal. Now, for me, I had to be sensible and say, right, in 5 years' time, this is where I want to be. It gives me time to navigate through everything I'm going to have to get through to get to that goal. For something as simple as maybe dropping a dress size, it might be 6 weeks. Okay, to which point you just have to focus things down. So there's your homework for today. Choose an end goal, define your reason, set a sensible time frame. When you've done that, we'll come back tomorrow and we'll go through stage 2 of goal setting.